you want to tell students why should they study or why should they choose to study at University of Newcastle, what would you say?
Obviously, from undergrad to postgrad to research, we have a range of sort of centers of excellence or areas that we really excel in. It's very close, but it's actually classified as a regional university because it's outside the city boundaries.
Hi everyone, greetings from Pi International Education. I am your host Sharik and I'm here with yet another session of Pi podcasts. Today I'm really excited to discuss with you all about an amazing university from Australia. This university is one of my favorite because it's ranked amongst the top universities in the world, in fact, the top 1%. And a lot of our students have been going to this university lately, and we have heard excellent feedback from those students. And I'm sure that with this session that I have with a wonderful guest that I will be introducing just now, you will get to know a lot about this university, and hopefully within the future, within the upcoming days, you will be interested to go to the university. So, to discuss in detail with me about the University of Newcastle, I have with me a very, very wonderful guest, Dr. Alec. So, hi, Dr. Alec. It's really, really nice to have you at the studio.
Great, thanks for welcoming me.
Yeah, and thank you really for taking out time from your busy schedule and giving us the opportunity to talk to you about the university.
Anything for my friends at Pi.
Yeah, so Dr. Alec, if I talk about the university in general, initially, I mean, um, I know for a fact as a counselor that it's ranked, I think, amongst the top 200, 250 universities in the world. It's top 1% in the whole world. I mean, one of the top universities in Australia. But from your standpoint, from your point of view, if you want to tell students why should they study or why should they choose to study at University of Newcastle, what would you say?
Well, I'd say there'd be a number of reasons. Look, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary this
Wow.
year, so 60 years young, I suppose.
Yeah.
So actually, a small factoid, 60 years ago, it used to be the University of New South Wales of Technology.
Okay.
And Newcastle was the engineering college based in the city of Newcastle. And then
Okay.
we split from UNSW.
Right.
And they established their own independent campus. So
Yeah.
just a bit of history there.
Right.
But yeah, so there's a great things for students to study on campus. Obviously, from undergrad to postgrad to research, we have a range of sort of centers of excellence or areas that we really excel in, from education and teaching to STEM fields like engineering and IT, cybersecurity, data science. Business and fintech are also very popular. But then we also have a lot of Bangladeshi students doing research with us in
Yeah.
in the environment area or soil remediation.
Right.
So we find we've got hundreds of Bangladeshi students, and they're sprinkled across the entire spectrum of programs, but primarily concentrated in the STEM fields.
Right. So, talking from a geographical standpoint, I mean, a lot of people might not know where Newcastle is exactly located. They might think of Newcastle being, an not an urban area or something like that of a village or something, but it's not really that, is it? It's very, very close to Sydney, in fact.
Absolutely. So Newcastle is the second biggest city in the state. So you've got Greater
In the
Sydney
whole of New South
and
Wales.
the whole of New
Wow.
South Wales. So you've got the Greater Sydney area, and then you've got Newcastle. So Greater Newcastle has about 500,000 people.
Yeah.
And we're on the same train, the same metro system as Sydney. So we're just 2 hours away by
Yeah.
train from central Sydney.
So it's very, very close.
It's very close, but it's actually classified as a regional university
Yeah.
because it's outside the city boundaries.
Great.
And that makes some difference for students who are looking for perhaps additional post-study work rights, because the
Right.
government provides additional allocations for universities like Newcastle.
So what that means is Newcastle, even though it's so close to Sydney, because it has the code license of being a regional city,
Sure.
it has more opportunities for students if they are looking for longer work permits, and in turn, if they're looking forward to get PR and stuff. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So obviously, government policies change every few
Definitely.
years, but based on current policy parameters,
Yeah.
then Newcastle classifies as a regional area,
Yeah.
which is great for students. I mean, Newcastle's a really interesting city because it's the world's largest coal port. So we export a lot of coal and critical minerals to around the world, but equally, we import a lot of renewable technology, wind turbines. And so what's interesting is that our city is actually a city in transition as we're moving from a very carbon-intensive economy to
Yeah.
one of clean energy. That means
Right.
there's a lot of jobs being created,
Right.
and Newcastle is actually the fastest growing region in the state, growing faster than Sydney. So that just means there's a lot of jobs being created in
Yeah.
the
So that was
region.
my next point. Thank you for raising it up. I mean, because it's a growing city and it's so closer to Sydney, the number of jobs that are
Mm.
available is quite high, right? So
Yes.
students going from international countries can look for part-time jobs as well while they are continuing their education.
Absolutely. So there's plenty of part-time roles available for students, but then also critically, after students graduate,
Yeah.
the employment rate in our city and our region is quite high. If you look at the QUILT data, so QUILT is the Quality Indicators of Learning and Teaching, which is a
Yeah.
government-run sort of survey that they do of
Yeah.
domestic and international students. The University of Newcastle rates above all other universities in the state for international and domestic student employability and graduate starting salaries.
In like more than the group of 8 universities.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what's interesting about being a university that is quite focused on what we do, that we're focused on many of the STEM areas, and as well as education, teaching, and business. But because we're the only university in our city, we have really, really strong connections with industry and business.
Yeah.
You can't find that in a city of like Sydney. You've got a number of universities, and there's a lot of the competing demands. We are the only university in our town, which means that businesses and industry, which are growing,
Yeah.
need qualified graduates.
Right.
So we're really in the box seat of helping, I think, both our domestic and international graduates
Yeah.
find jobs in the region.
Great. And also, as far as the cost of living is concerned, I mean, we all know for a fact that Sydney is very, very expensive. International students have this thing that, they have to pay their tuition fee as well as, bear their living expenses as well.
Yeah.
But Newcastle being so near from Sydney is still, I think, is what, half of the cost?
It's about 40% lower in terms of
Lower.
accommodation costs,
Yeah.
like rental accommodation
Right.
costs. And
But
also,
still, it's very significant. 40%
it
is
is
huge.
40% is significant. And if you
Yeah.
look at even our student accommodation, it would be more than 50% cheaper.
Yeah.
So the average single bedroom on campus is about $280 or $290 a week. In Sydney, at a comparable university for a single room, it's about $700 a week.
Wow, that's more than double.
So but students have the freedom. They have the choice if they
To
want to
live
live
on
on campus or
yeah.
they can live off campus. Actually, it is cheaper to live off campus if
Right.
you've got a house and you've got maybe 3 or 4 classmates together. We
Right.
find that increasingly a number of our Bangladeshi students prefer to live near campus,
Yeah.
but off campus in accommodation with friends. They can cook the food they like,
Yeah.
but they're still maybe walking distance or just a short
From
bus
the
ride.
university.
Yeah.
Right. সো আপনারা যারা শুনতেছেন, ডক্টর অ্যালেক খুব সুন্দর করে জিনিসটাকে বুঝায় বললেন যে ইভেন দো নিউকাসল ইজ আ রিজনাল সিটি, ইটস নট অ্যাকচুয়ালি এরকম কোনো একটা জায়গা না যেখানে জবস অ্যাভেলেবল নাই বা এটা একটা দেশ বা গ্রামের মতন। ইটস অ্যাকচুয়ালি আ ভেরি ভেরি ডেভেলপ সিটি, ইনফ্যাক্ট আ গ্রোয়িং সিটি ফর দ্যাট ম্যাটার, যেখানে অনেক জবস অ্যাভেলেবল আছে। এবং কস্ট অফ লিভিংয়ের কথা যদি আমরা বলি, ইটস অলমোস্ট 50% চিপার দেন লিভিং ইন সিডনি, but it's very near to Sydney as well. The reason why I picked this topic up is because a lot of our students from Bangladesh prefer going to Sydney because they don't really have any geographical idea about the other locations and what opportunities are there as well. So it's very important to clear it out that, the amount of jobs and the opportunities that are there in Newcastle, they may be second to none.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Sydney's a great city. It's one of the
of
world's
course.
most beautiful cities, very livable
Definitely.
city. I lived there for 20 years. I relocated to Newcastle just about a year ago when I took up this job.
Yeah.
I love it. I just think it's very livable, it's very walkable, easy to bike around, but also because it's cheaper to live there than in
Yeah.
Sydney, less hassle, less traffic. So
Less
but it's still accessible. If students want to go down to Sydney for the weekend, again, 2 hours hopping on the train for 2 hours, it's not that far.
Yeah, I mean, especially for Bangladeshi students, considering the traffic we face here every day.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be an
But
issue.
our trains, you just can't ride on the roof.
Yeah.
Got to stay inside.
Definitely. So PR এর দিক থেকে আমি যেটা আপনাদেরকে বলতে চাচ্ছিলাম, যেহেতু সিডনি নিউক্যাসল একটা রিজনাল সিটি, সো আপনারা যারা আন্ডার গ্রাজুয়েশন বা মাস্টার্স নিউক্যাসল থেকে পড়বেন, আপনাদের জন্য এক্সট্রা ইয়ার আপনারা পাবেন টুয়ার্ডস ইউর ওয়ার্ক পারমিট, অ্যান্ড দেন ইটস আ ভেরি গুড অপরচুনিটি ফর ইউ। আপনারা যদি কাজ করে পরবর্তীতে এটাকে PR এ কনভার্ট করতে পারেন। So thank you, Dr. Alec, for this information regarding University of Newcastle and the opportunities it provides in general. In the next segment, we are going to talk about the undergraduate programs in general, the programs that are available, what sort of scholarships the students are going to get if
Sure.
they apply, and what opportunities lie there. So stay tuned for our next segment. Thank you.